I think it's safe to say that Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics, they are screwed. And what I mean by that is concerning the fact that they are also stupid. Because a couple days ago, and I'm kind of late on this, but I believe it was last week where we got our actual first in-game look at Spider-Man's gameplay. And first of all, let me just say this. The gameplay sucks. It looks like it totally sucks. And it looks like that they were trying to copy off Insomniac. And it seems like they were trying to do what Insomniac always does best, but they could not accomplish that goal, apparently, because the gameplay really looks bad for Spider-Man in this game. It looks boring. And which, like most characters in this game, like the gameplay is boring for a lot of characters in this game. And I cannot believe that they actually managed to screw up Spider-Man's gameplay in this game. And then another thing that I wanted to talk about is considering the fact that we got even more disappointing news about the character, which is actually the most disappointing news about him in this game, is considering the fact that Spider-Man is not even getting any story missions in this game. He's not getting any story missions, none. Which this entire time, they had us thinking that we were going to get a story mode for Spider-Man. Because why? Because it's Spider-Man. You always got to have a story for him. Like, no matter, doesn't matter what type of game he's in, he always plays a huge part in other superhero games. Like, even if it's not his own, like, solo game or something like that. Like, let's say Marvel vs. Capcom played a good part in those games. Lego Marvel, like the Lego Marvel superhero games, played a huge part in those as well. The freaking Ultimate Alliance games, like he played a part in those games too. But in this game, he's not really doing anything for the story. Like he has no story in this game. In this entire time, they had us thinking he was gonna have a story, but he didn't. He doesn't have a story, which I think is stupid. And like I say, you guys are going to see this is a rant video. That's going to be the title of this video. You're going to see that's going to say rant in it because I'm literally going on a rant right now because this is so stupid. I don't know how they could manage to screw up such an iconic character, a popular character a fun character, and they ruined him. I mean, look at this. Look at the gameplay. This looks really bad. Like it looks like a mobile game. It don't even look like... Dude, this looks like somebody was doing, like, it looks like somebody was creating a game. Let's say, like, you're in high school, whatever. It looks like a high school student's, like, video game project or something like that. It looks like that they were trying to pass the class, but then they ultimately failed in the end because it was cheap and they didn't put no effort into this. That's basically the best way to put it. It looks like a high schooler's project. This game looks like a high school project. Like, what? I don't see how you guys can... How do you screw up Spider-Man? And then, like, that's what just, like, is basically the icing on the cake, is that he has no story. And this entire time, and the reason why we thought he had a story was because, considering the fact that how they literally said this when they first announced him. They said that, and they even said this, like, a couple months ago as well, before they even, like, revealed his look in the game. They even said this themselves. They said that, oh, Spider-Man has been investigating recent AIM activity to figure out, like, what's going on. So he teams up with the Avengers to put a stop to AIM. And they said that he even develops, like, a fun relationship with Kamala Khan. Has a great relationship with Black Widow. All that. They said all of that. They made us think that he was actually going to have a story mode in this game, because the way how they were explaining it, it sounded like he was going to get his own story for this game. But apparently that is not the case. And this doesn't make any sense either, because how come all the other characters in the game got their own stories? Like Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, Black Panther, they all got their own story modes. And out of all people, out of all the superheroes, you decide not to give the one and only Spider-Man a story. You decide not to give him a story. That is just stupid. Because Spider-Man is such an iconic character, and with a character that popular, it's like you gotta have a story for him, at least. Like, not just have him just be playable in the game, give him like a little like role in something. And that's even though he's been in other crossover video games where there have been multiple superhero teams and all that, he still played in part in all of those games. Like the Ultimate Alliance games, he played a part in that. Because he was part of the story for those games as well. Same thing for like the Lego games. Like, also played a story, like played a part in their stories as well. Like, how do you do this to him? It's like, what is wrong with Square Enix? Seriously. At this point, Marvel's Avengers is totally dead at this point. Literally dead. Because they... Dude. Oh my god. I don't know how... How did they do all this though? Like, how? At this point, even if they... This game is ultimately failing. Like, literally, it's failing. Like, nobody really likes the game. I mean, there are people out there who like the game. But the majority of people, like other people who have played this game, they're the people who dislike the game. Like, literally dislike it. Like, a lot. And... I just think this is a very poor choice for Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics to make. And another thing is like why this was a really cheap and like stupid, not cheap, but it was just really stupid. How they never even told us that they didn't even tell us from the beginning that he was not getting any story missions, because this entire time they had us thinking he was getting a story in this game, but he didn't. So, what? How? And they did a horrible job at like keeping us up to date with the Spider-Man. Like, even like from the very beginning when they had first announced them. I mean, ever since then, I think they've done a very poor job at like keeping us up to date with how Spider-Man was going to play in this game and what type of role he was going to contribute to this game. They didn't do any of that. Like, they didn't even tell us that he was not getting a story. Like, from the very beginning, from the moment they announced him, they didn't say squat about his story. They didn't state anything about him not having a story. Like, so literally at the last minute, as soon as he's ready to launch on Marvel's Avengers, because he launches on Marvel's Avengers on November 30th, which is on Tuesday. And for them to do this, I think it was a very poor... They did a very poor job with his DLC. And it's not even out yet. Like I said, the DLC isn't even out yet, and people are already disappointed. And I can totally understand why. Because I am one of those people. Because I'm literally disappointed in them. Because his gameplay sucks. The web swinging looks trash. Like, look how stiff he is. Look at how stiff he is. And honestly, Insomniac Games, they really beat like Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics. Like, man, they did Spider-Man more justice. Like I said, Insomniac Games, they did a better job at nailing Spider-Man's gameplay, such as his web swinging, his combat, his upgrades and all that. Like, they did a better job. And that's why when it comes to Spider-Man games, that's why we leave the character himself into the hands of Insomniac Games, because they actually know what they're doing with the character when it comes to gameplay and the story for his games. And Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix, they literally just ruined an iconic character, dude. They literally just made him so boring. They literally made him boring now. And honestly, like I said, and because how Insomniac Games, like, they did a better job with the gameplay and all that, man, oh my gosh, dude, this is, oh my god. But I'm not gonna lie, Spider-Man, his outfits, because he actually does get alternate outfits in this game, and they actually, I'm not gonna lie, the outfits in Marvel's Avengers, they actually look pretty cool. But although I do prefer Insomniac's versions of their Spider-Man suits, I I just prefer Insomniac Games over Crystal Dynamics. Like, when it comes to like when I compare Marvel's Avengers to the Spider-Man games, I just straight up just pick Spider-Man, like no hesitation whatsoever, because they did a better job with the character. That's why we leave the character in the hands of Insomniac, because they actually know what they're doing. And Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics, they don't know what they're doing. I don't even know, man. Like, this is disappointing is what it is. This is just sad, like literally sad. That's why, because it's like we already knew that this game was not, like, we already knew that it wasn't doing all that great, especially when it first launched, because we already know how it didn't have that much of a great launch event. Like we know how, like, when the game first launched, it wasn't all that successful when it came to its sales and all that. And we already know how, like, we already know about all the feedback that, you know, Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics got from the fans and the critics. And yeah, this game is it's dead. They completely screwed this game, man, and they ruined Spider-Man. Like, how do you manage to make Spider-Man boring? How do you do that though? Like, I really don't understand. And the thing is, like, it looks like that they were trying to copy off of Insomniac Games when it comes to his combat, because I'm not gonna lie, I've seen some of these moves before, and some of these moves are actually from the Insomniac Games Spider-Man games. Like, it's actually from their version of Spider-Man, because there's even this part right here, as you guys can see, when he did that special takedown. That's the same way how the Spider-Man from Insomniac fights when it comes to the special moves. And then another thing is that, like, why does he shoot his webs like that? What is up with that? It looks weird. Like, his gameplay looks so weird. And then his gameplay looks really choppy. It doesn't look smooth. It looks very clunky. And I actually said this when I had first played Marvel's Avengers. I said this from the very beginning when the game first launched. I said, like, the gameplay was very clunky, especially when it came to its dodging mechanics, because the dodging mechanics in this game sucks. Literally sucks. Like, literally, when you press the dodge button, you still get hit by an enemy either way. It doesn't even matter. You still get hit by an enemy, and, like, even if you, like, hit the dodge button. And I just think, like, oh my god. Like, how do you ruin a character like Spider-Man? It just... I know for a fact that I'm not playing this game. Like, I'm really done with this game now. Even though I haven't even played Marvel's Avengers in like a year now. And when they announced that Spider-Man was coming to Marvel's Avengers, I was actually thinking about, you know, playing it again, specifically for the Spider-Man DLC. But now seeing this and hearing IGN's, you know, discussion and thoughts on how they feel about this Spider-Man DLC, it's helped me make a very, very, very good decision, which is not to play this DLC. And another thing too is that this is only coming to PlayStation users. So anybody who has Xbox or like PC platforms, they're not going to be able to play as Spider-Man in this game. And now seeing this gameplay, I'm actually glad that Xbox and PC are not going to be able to play as Spider-Man, because if, like I say, I mean, I know this is going to sound awful, but the thing is, although like from the very beginning I felt very bad that, you know, Xbox and PC players weren't going to be able to play as Spider-Man, and I know that absolutely sucks. It really does, and I feel bad for those platform players. But the thing is, I'm very glad this is not coming to Xbox and PC, because Xbox and PC users should not have to waste their time on this piece of garbage of a DLC. So, like I said, the good thing about this is that Xbox and PC, and for those of you who are Xbox and PC players who are watching this video, let me tell you guys something. You guys are not missing out on anything. Like, nothing. You guys are not missing out on a thing, because this DLC looks like it sucks. And because of the way this gameplay looks, and because everything I've heard about it, like everything I've heard about the story, well, I shouldn't say story, but his appearance in this game, because I don't even know what to even really say anymore, because we all thought he was getting a story, but he's not apparently. So, yeah, because he's not getting any story, I think that was just, that really was like, you know what, I'm definitely not playing this game anymore, because when I found out he wasn't going to have a story in this, I was like, screw Marvel's Avengers, screw Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics, because they completely ruined this game, and they ruined a good character. They ruined a fun character. Yeah, guys, this is just... God, I don't know how they could manage... I don't know how they managed to screw this up. I really don't. I really don't know how they managed to screw this character up. Okay, guys, well, that's going to be the end of this video. Leave it down in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think about the news about Spider-Man's DLC. Are you guys disappointed as much as I am? And also, leave it down in the comment section below. Which Spider-Man do you prefer? Square Enix's Spider-Man or Insomniac Games Spider-Man? Personally, Insomniac Games for me. Like, just straight up, like, hands down Insomniac Games, because they actually know what they're doing with the character. You know, and I just think Insomniac Games, when it comes to superhero games, I just have more faith in Insomniac Games than I do with Square Enix. Like, that's just in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys feel the same way, and I know that for a fact, because I've even seen other people say that as well. Because they said that they think Insomniac's Spider-Man is better as well, and I believe that I also think that as well. So yeah, like I said, for me, Insomniac Games Spider-Man all the way. Screw Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics Spider-Man, because I don't know what kind of Spider-Man this is. Like, this is Spooderman is what it is. Like, this is literally, I don't even know. This is just weird. But anyways, leave it in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think about this, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out. And Insomniac Spider-Man all the way.